Welcome in everybody, it's Los Lagos here with another Ghost Inhale deep dive. Today I want to talk about Jay Storm, a Charlotte, North Carolina artist, but specifically his Disaster Records era. That period of time helped shape a lot of the artists we're still seeing today. A lot of conversations focus on current releases, but to understand where an artist is going, you have to understand what built them. Storm isn't an artist that just arose yesterday. To be honest with you, I've been following him since I've been like 16. That's one of the reasons I wanted to make this deep dive. I was hanging out in Florida at my grandparents' house after just getting back from the Galleria Mall, checking Twitter. You know, I was always networking back then too. And I came across Jay Storm. It was Who is Jay Storm back then, I believe. And it's been a long journey, like a really long journey for everyone. Something I didn't know until I did this research for the deep dive was that Storm has been making music since middle school, producing beats on Fruity Loops on his brother's laptop. That's pretty sick if you ask me. What really makes Jay Storm's trajectory very interesting and special is that his growth did not stay local for too long. While still being based in North Carolina, he began production connections that extended far into Chicago, one of the most culturally influential rap scenes of the time. This was not at all accidental. It showed people like King Louie early on that his musical taste and production could be translated beyond regions. His involvement in records connected across Chicago signaled something very important. He wasn't just participating in like a local movement, he was building across scenes. Across a nation, really. That kind of cross-regional alignment does something to an artist. It sharpens perspective, it forces technical growth. It also separates someone from just being boxed in as a local, obviously. Speaking on the collaborations have always been part of the architecture of his career. From early production placements to later on creative partnerships, there's been a pattern. He builds through alignment, not through isolation. That instinct to collaborate but still maintain a clear identity becomes a through line from the Chicago period to the Disaster Records era till now. Alright, you're probably wondering where I got this hoodie from. It started getting cold because it's raining. Now, instead of him chasing maybe a new location or industry shortcuts, there was more of a shift towards ownership and internal structure. And that's really where Disaster Records comes into play. Disaster Records wasn't just a name. He was releasing projects under his own imprint, reinforcing control over output and direction. Like literally for those of us that were in Charlotte, and I would say maybe growing up's a bad word for it, but for those of us who were there during the Disaster Records time period, it felt so raw, but so intentional. It wasn't about polishing and stuff like that. It was more about establishing a foundation. It's almost like he really did pick a good name for the record label, or a record label at the time, Disaster Records, because it felt like a workshop era. From gaining artists like 10 Cell Phones, Midnight, Bravo, even Fonzo Rex, who I still manage, I didn't manage him back then, but I manage him now, all came from Disaster Records. That platform alone allowed for those artists to really tighten identities, experiment, and build what I would like to think of as the Charlotte sound. I came from Fayetteville, North Carolina, and I knew about Disaster Records back then. I don't remember what year it was. Like I was like in college, and that's what Charlotte was. It was Disaster Records. Now, what's truly interesting is that the intensity of that time period didn't just fade out and disappear. It literally evolved before all of our eyes. Now, if you were involved in it, you probably didn't see it as I was seeing it as an outsider. The urgency became more structured and the chaos became more controlled. Fast forward, when you look at later projects, you can really, projects honestly from any of the artists that were involved, but you can literally trace that groundwork and building and ideologies and all of that back to Disaster Records. Which now brings us to his newest releases, which are fire, by the way. rather than feeling disconnected, it feels like a continuation, like a more refined version of something that started years ago, which is crazy. If you haven't heard his recent releases yet, I Don't Need 'Em and I'm Just Me, I highly suggest you go right after this video and listen to them. I'll put the artworks up here if I can, and yeah, that's what they'll look like. J Storm, of course, obviously, and these are hitting really, really different. Like the production levels, especially after you're listening to this whole storyline, the production levels just put you in that zone that shows so much character, and so much growth, so much maturity. I just don't even know how to fully explain. I don't know if there's English words to explain this stuff, but I highly suggest you go listen to those songs. And not just the production and beats by itself, also the lyrics. The lyrics are grown. I don't know how to explain that. It just shows a timeline. When you zoom out now and observe the entire timeline, J Storm's career doesn't just seem like random moments that happen to fall together. It reads as chapters. The Chicago expansion and all the other production he's done across the entire nation showed reach. The Disaster Records era established structure, and the current releases showed refinement. Understanding all of that progression makes the current moment for J Storm that much more meaningful. I'm Los the Ghost again, and this is Ghost Inhale Deep Dives. Thank you.